Hi, I'm Marc Templin. I was dealt a lot of the privilege cards. I'm straight, I'm white, I'm male and cis, I'm tall. I have just enough ADD that I'm good at computers, but I can usually still find my keys. So why am I up here sharing my story during Pride Month? Well, it's because 5 years ago, I wouldn't have set foot in a church with a rainbow flag in the sanctuary. 3 years ago, I wasn't entirely comfortable signing on as a charter member of Salt House. And even 2 weeks ago, I wasn't sure I was ready to publicly say I'm an ally. And yet here I am, drawn by a God and loving community who joyfully embrace my journey, along with everyone else's. I grew up in a conservative evangelical tradition that did not celebrate Pride. Quite the opposite. And for the first 30 years of my life, I went along with that. I dismissed all those liberal denominations as getting caught up in the social gospel and straying from the clear truth of the Bible. I met a few gay people, but I never listened to their stories. In college, I had a professor I greatly respected who was a leader in one of those liberal churches. I confided to him once that I was concerned that my views on homosexuality were based in the same logic as people who use the Bible to justify slavery. Without preaching, he encouraged me to keep asking questions and let God lead me. And for the next 10 plus years, I ignored him. It was easy, even necessary, to keep those questions at bay because so much of my community, family, friends, church, felt threatened by them. It wasn't until my life fell apart that I was forced to re-examine my entire faith and system of values. Within 3 years, my marriage ended, I lost my job, and most of my friends left my church when the pastor declared that the LGBTQ+ community was welcomed and affirmed there. I had a choice to make, and I stayed, partly for a girl, but partly because I needed to see if I could square this more loving way of life with the faith I still held on to. I listened, read, and learned. And you know what? I'm still trying to figure it out. That uncertainty is incredibly uncomfortable for me, but it's not too uncomfortable for Salt House. Pastor Ryan asked me here not to share my completed story of how I left bigotry behind and jumped on a pride float, but because I'm in process. And this is a safe place to be in process. So why am I sharing? It's because of the queer people I've come to know, for whom I must begin to use my privilege to be their ally. For the gay couple in my old small group, who were raised the same as me but didn't have the choice to ignore the questions. For the 3 trans women on my team at work, who need equal pay and to be heard in meetings. And for all the kids here, who deserve leaders who will love them and affirm the beautiful people God is forming them to be. I'm Marc, and this is my Salt House Pride story, because there is more than enough room at God's table for everyone.